A 29-year-old teacher in Michigan has been arrested for having sexual relations with her 15-year-old student. This is Catherine Ronk, and she was teaching Spanish at a Catholic school in the area. It's Bishop Foley High School. And the reason why she got caught was because the parents of the boy suspected there was something going on. They alerted the authorities, and an investigation was launched, and she did get caught. Now, they had sex in the classroom, and they also had sex in the boy's home. And it happened for about a few months before she got caught. Now, she is facing a number of charges, including first-degree sexual conduct, 1 count of possession of sexually abusive material featuring a child, and also 1 count of furnishing alcohol to a minor.
Mm-hmm. Now, so here's the issue. She's hot, okay? And so I'm going to get in trouble here, but I'm going to ask you guys what I'm supposed to do about this, okay? So yes, I have a double standard. Yes, the fact that she's very attractive colors the issue here. Yes, I denounce and reject myself for all of that, okay? But having said that, and she looks so young. They say she's 29. She looks, 24 at most to me in all the different pictures. They say, oh, she's also scandalous because she seems to have alcohol in a lot of the pictures. Okay, 29-year-old teacher drinks a lot. Anyway, that isn't the issue here. She had sex with a 15-year-old who's her student. There's no question that she should be fired immediately, okay? Mm-hmm. But honestly, if I had had sex with her when I was 15, I would have declared that the best day of my life. And it probably would not have been matched since. Okay, now I'm being honest about that. Doesn't mean I'm right. It doesn't mean she shouldn't go to jail, right? Is there something weird that we send people to jail for what throughout centuries and centuries would have been the most acceptable thing in the world? A 15-year-old kid having sex, they would have been adults back in the day, having sex with a 29-year-old attractive woman? I don't know a 15-year-old boy who would have turned it down. I just don't know one.
That's because you live in your own bubble. Just because you would enjoy it and you think you wouldn't have any type of, consequences, mental consequences of doing it, doesn't mean that every single boy who experiences it is going to love it the same way that you would. And also, look, I hate doing these stories. I despise these stories. And the reason why I do is because we hash out the same argument over and over again. You can't have a double standard in the justice system. If a 29-year-old male teacher did the same thing with a 15-year-old female student, he would be prosecuted and it would be harsh. And you can't say, hey, you know what, this is a really attractive 29-year-old woman, so let's let her off easy. Let's not prosecute her, but let's fire her. That's just not fair. If you want that type of policy, then you have to extend it to males as well, and we're unwilling to do that. So you can't do it.
No, I know. The thing is, I know that you're right. It's just there's this particular issue that I don't know how to solve, because I might be wrong that it's not 100% of males. I would bet any amount of money that it's 90% of males who would have said yes. And then does it do emotional damage? Maybe for some, right? But to assume that a 15-year-old boy who has sex with an attractive 29-year-old woman is going to have emotional damage for the rest of his life, I don't think that's a fair assumption. Now, the flip side is, you're right. If it was my 15-year-old daughter having sex with a 29-year-old attractive teacher, but on the other hand, jail? I don't know.
You wouldn't want him in jail.
I don't know. Look, there's a line somewhere, and that's why this issue is super hard. I believe 16, and this is my personal belief, you're an adult. In my world, it's not the world that exists here, that if it's my 16-year-old son or daughter and they want to have sex, maybe as a parent I'm uncomfortable, but I understand it, okay? If they want to drink. At 16, you are perfectly capable. It's not that you're not emotional. It's not that you're the same as a 46-year-old in terms of, emotional, mental state, etc. But how long are we going to keep these people as kids and stuff? So, but 15 is below 16, so that's what makes this even harder. If we're talking about 11, it's a no-brainer, right? In the opposite direction.
Why do we have such strict laws when it comes to something like child pornography? Right? Mm-hmm. First of all, you don't want to exploit minors and put them in pornography, but it's also sick to have 15-year-olds in porn, right? And anyone who downloads or consumes that type of pornography has to face prosecution. It's because it's a sick and perverted thing to do. It's a minor. They're not even supposed to be in pictures naked. So to have an adult, someone who's damn near 30, having sex with a 15-year-old male student is wrong. It's against the law. Regardless of how horny you were at 15, it's not the way that it's supposed to go down.
Okay, you're one, and you're right. Okay, if even my internal rule is 16, this is against my internal rule. I'm going to have to get past how weird it is to me that we're going to put someone in jail for something that would have been just an unbelievably great thing to me if it had happened to me at 15. I think it would have been, right? Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it is what it is. And don't get me wrong, I'm not justifying her actions overall. If I was the principal there, I would have fired her so goddamn quick, it would have made your head spin. Can't have sex with your students, no matter what age they are, let alone a 15-year-old. I mean, come on, this is stupid beyond belief. And she brought it to his house. I mean, she's an idiot, right? And if you want to, and she's married, if you want to have sex with hot young guys, go to your local frat. Believe me, there's going to be takers. So I'm not justifying her actions. I'm just saying, I'm being honest that I feel that there's this quirk here that I cannot solve. But legally, you're right, and I can't. Of course, you can't have a double standard. So under the current laws, she's going to go to jail.
Most 15-year-old boys have already masturbated 2,000-3,000 times. Okay, I mean literally. Okay, and for them, sex is so hugely important, and for most of them, or for many of them, it's a giant win. For most 15-year-old girls, I'm gonna guess they didn't masturbate thousands of times, and sex is, not at the top of their mind. So there's this assumption that if they did it, it must have been some level of coercion or lack of consent. But whereas if a boy did it, of course he's consented. I mean, this is a kid that's been masturbating nonstop for the last couple of years. But of course, we can't take that into account. Under the law, that all goes to the side, and we have to be fair and uniform in our approach.
I really got to get handed to Steve. That was another really good point there, because from a male perspective, I know that would have been my greatest fantasy. Because, I remember my English teacher was way past 29, and if that had happened, oh my God, I would have been like, it's a miracle, thank you, Lord, right? So there's no coercion there. I know it because I lived it, right? So now I'm not that 15-year-old, so I didn't live his perspective. And yes, in the end, you got to have the bright line rules, et cetera, that we just discussed. But it feels wrong in my gut because I know that it wouldn't have been coercion in my case.